Welcome to the Digital Edge. Get ready, because today we're jumping into the really interesting story of Quikr.
That's right, the Indian online classifieds platform.
Exactly. Founded back in 2008 by Pranay Chule and GB Thomas right there in Mumbai.
And the initial idea, well, it seems pretty simple now, doesn't it? Just a platform for people to easily buy, sell, rent, discover all sorts of things.
Pretty much anything, yeah. So our mission today is really to trace how Quikr went from, pretty basic service, navigated all the challenges, and became this, well, major player in Indian e-commerce.
We'll definitely look at its growth, the obstacles, the strategies they used, and crucially how Pranay Chule's vision kind of guided the whole thing.
Okay, so where did that initial spark come from? I heard Craigslist was an inspiration.
Yeah, exactly. Pranay Chule saw what Craigslist was doing in the U.S. and noticed, well, there wasn't really a direct equivalent for consumer-to-consumer stuff in India back then, a real gap in the market. So in 2008, they launched Quikr. Initially, it was all free classifieds, trying to connect people for, household goods, electronics, bikes, a really broad focus.
And that broad approach helped them get users quickly.
Definitely. It let them tap into a wide base early on, and they expanded to other cities pretty fast.
Okay, let's unpack that. The expansion was quick. Yeah, it wasn't just users. They added features too, right?
Yeah.
And then the mobile app came along in 2011.
Oh, yeah, the mobile app. That was big.
Huge, I imagine, with smartphone use really taking off in India around then.
Absolutely. And it wasn't just about having an app. It was likely tailored, easy photo uploads, things that really worked well on mobile for listings in the Indian context. A smart move.
Mobile first. Makes sense.
And funny thing, they weren't always called Quikr.
What?
Started as Kijiji. It's Swahili, means community. But they found it a bit tricky for people to pronounce easily in India.
Oh, okay.
So they rebranded to Quikr, felt more intuitive. And GB Thomas, the co-founder, he actually left in 2012 to start his own thing.
Interesting. Okay, so fast forward a bit. Quikr didn't just stick to general classifieds, did they? They pushed into bigger areas.
No, they definitely diversified. Moved strongly into real estate, cars, jobs, local services, key verticals.
Which must have brought new challenges, but also, I guess, bigger opportunities.
For sure. And they made some strategic acquisitions, too. Common Floor, the real estate portal, that was a big one in 2016.
Right, I remember that.
They even partnered up with OLX India later on in 2020. But growth like that isn't smooth sailing. Building trust online is always tough.
Yeah, the scam issue. You hear about that with classifieds platforms sometimes.
Exactly. There are, threads online where people talk about scams, voucher scams, things like that. It highlights that constant need for vigilance and safety features.
And the money side, monetization. How do you
Yeah.
go from completely free to making sustainable revenue? Premium listings, ads. It's tricky.
It's a very delicate balance, yeah. You don't want to scare off the users who built the platform in the first place.
Plus, just operating across India, so diverse, different regulations maybe. Scaling must have been complex.
Hugely complex. And that brings us to a really significant moment, the Kinnevik valuation downgrade in 2019.
Yes. That made headlines. What happened there?
Well, Kinnevik, a major investor, cited issues with fictitious transactions, particularly in the rentals and cars sections.
Oof. That's serious.
It was. It
Well-
led to Quikr having to pull back a bit in those areas, reassess strategy, and unfortunately cut down their workforce quite significantly.
What was the underlying issue, do you think? Just bad actors or something structural?
Part of it was likely the challenge of being a horizontal platform. Trying to be everything to everyone makes it hard to compete against specialized players who are laser focused on just cars or just real estate,
Right, the specialist can maybe offer a deeper service or build more trust in that specific niche.
Exactly. That structure, plus the transaction issues, really impacted how investors saw their value at that time.
So, quite a setback. But they obviously weathered that storm, didn't they? They're still a major name. That shows some serious resilience.
Absolutely. That's key to their story. Despite those big hurdles, they managed to establish themselves.
How'd they pull through?
Well, they kept innovating. Things like Quikr NXT, their chat platform, aimed to make communication smoother and safer between buyers and sellers.
Okay.
And their expansion into all those different categories, even with the later pullback in some, still gave them massive reach. Strategic partnerships help too, and just constantly tweaking the technology, improving the user experience.
And that missed call campaign, that was clever.
Genius, wasn't it? It perfectly understood a common behavior in India, the missed call, and used it for marketing and engagement. So simple, so effective.
Yeah. And the numbers show the growth, right? What were they hitting?
By 2012, they were reporting over 22 million monthly users across 65 cities. And by 2014, revenue was around 200 crore rupees. They attracted significant funding along the way, too.
So where does Quikr stand today? Still a big presence.
Oh, yeah. They continue to offer that core free classified service, which keeps it accessible for millions. The mobile app is central, of course, and they've got features like advanced search, secure payment options integrated now.
And there's that interesting angle about the circular economy, too.
Right. By making it easy to sell used goods, they inherently support reuse and recycling. That's driven by environmental awareness, sure, but also just basic economics in India getting value out of older items.
I read an example about people in Punjab rebuilding old motorbikes into farm tools.
Exactly that kind of thing. And apparently Quikr even furnished its own offices using items found on its platform.
Huh. That's brilliant. Eating your own dog food, as they say.
Pretty much.
Looking back at Pranay Chule's journey through all this, what were his big takeaways? Any key lessons he shared?
He often talks about needing to be open-minded, adaptable, flexible. You can't be rigid in a market as dynamic as India.
Speed, too, I bet, in the online world.
Absolutely critical. Speed matters. But he also stressed staying intellectually honest and humble. As you grow, it's easy to get complacent, but you need that humility to stay agile.
And dealing with India's diversity.
Yeah, approaching it with fresh eyes, not assuming one size fits all. He advocated for decentralizing decisions, letting local teams respond to local nuances.
Makes a lot of sense. So Quikr's story, it really is a case study in building an online business in a place like India, isn't it?
Totally. From that simple start through major challenges, achieving real success, it tells you a lot about entrepreneurship, needing to adapt, and just how fast the digital world changes.
That mix of, strategic vision, clever marketing, like a missed call thing, and just sheer resilience when things got tough. That seems to be the formula.
It really does, and it underscores how vital it is to really understand your market, like they did, but also that constant tension between growing fast and making sure your platform stays trustworthy and solid. The valuation issue was a tough lesson there.
A crucial balance. Well, thank you for joining us on The Digital Edge for this look into the fascinating journey of Quikr.
My pleasure.
We really encourage everyone listening to think about how these online marketplaces evolve and the innovation stories behind them. Join us next time for another exploration of the forces shaping our digital world.